Folks, this is the place to be on Wednesday night. Here we are in the On the Money Sports Lounge, live and in living color, the mega powers of podcasting, bringing you another edition of On the Money Podcast. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. And in case you needed a reminder, I am the current reigning, defending, undisputed, inaugural Elite Eight champion. I am your reigning On the Money Sports champion, and I am also one half of the mega powers of podcasting. And alongside me, as always, per usual, none other than the man himself, the one and only Oscar O'Money Muniz in the house.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing on this fine Wednesday cold night? This has been pretty cold lately up here in the Northeast. Looks like it ain't going away. Well, we're going to get a little break in the 40s this weekend. We're going to go back down later on this week. It looks like it's going to be pretty cold in Buffalo this Sunday night for that game.
Sunday night.
6:30 o'clock. 6:30, it's going to be feeling like it's minus 10 out there. It's going to be kind of like the similar to that Chiefs-Dolphins game last year.
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty cold out there.
That helps the Bills.
Yeah, it does. So I hope everybody's staying warm. When you're working outside, please layer up. Trust me, I know. Other than that, I hope everybody out there in the Silicon Valley, whether you're watching us through your PC, your iPad, your phone, or hell, if you're streaming it off of your television, your smart TV, thank you for joining in. Absolutely. And let's get this show on the road.
Let's do this, man. We've got the divisional round of the playoffs to break down. We've got the wild card round to break down what we got right, what we got wrong. Paul, ooh, yeah. Let's Go Birds is in the house, officially checking in for a new edition of On the Money Podcast. Always appreciate you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. You know, one of the more vocal voices within the On the Money Sports fan forum these days, and it's much appreciated.
From the wings of an eagle.
That's a good one. We will be breaking down your matchup going up against the Rams. You've got the Bills going up against the Ravens. My Super Bowl pick, those Rudy Poo Rams, they came through against the Vikings like I told you guys they would. What I didn't get correct was the Chargers, whom I thought were going to be ready for this matchup against the Texans, and the Chargers were charging like hardcore.
That was worse than going up 20-0.
Worse than Chargers. Yeah. It was worse. It was worse than because at least that Chargers team had the lead before they blew it. This team never had the lead. They kind of made you feel like after a while, after 6-0, like they never had a shot. That was rough. I ended up going 3-3 on my super wild card weekend picks. Of course, I picked the Packers, who were like god awful as well. What's the other? Oh, the Bucks, Tampa Bay. But that was a good game.
Yeah, I didn't
expect that to go down the way it did. But hell of a game between those two. Probably the most fun game out of the 6 because that
was the only competitive game, really.
Yeah, the other ones, none of the underdogs showed up for any of the other games.
Not at all.
I would take the Vikings to be the underdogs in the Vikings and Rams because I feel as though anybody who's been watching football the last month and a half, you can visibly see like the better football team is the Los Angeles Rams. They proved they were the better team. Sam Darnold, the Ghosts came back. Man. The Ghost came back.
Last regular season game and this opening wild card game.
Ghost Valley.
He cost himself a lot of money. From going to like 45 plus. Now they're talking about he's probably still going to get about 30 million, which is still a lot of money. Still a lot of money.
Crazy though. Crazy difference how that can dramatically.
As soon
as the contract talks became a conversation, it feels like he just went out there and, it's funny. He lost to 2 teams all year long, and it ended their season. He lost to the Lions twice. He lost to the Rams twice. A 14-3 team. They started the year off 5-0, lost to the Lions, lost to the Rams. After that, they rattled off 9 games straight, and then you end your season by losing to the Lions and losing to the Rams. And the Minnesota Vikings continue to be the team with the most playoff wins and no Super Bowl to show for it.
It's a shame.
It's a heavy crown to bear.
I've been reading, there's possibilities that
What up,
Darnold probably doesn't come back, and they run it with Daniel Jones next year until J.J. McCarthy's healthy.
Oh, so that means
imagine Kevin O'Connell gets that guy to play, though.
That means the Vikings end up having the season that we projected them to have this past year.
What if they don't? What if he's Sam Darnold 2.0? I mean, look, I also say it's a product of your environment, and that environment has a lot of weapons.
They do. I mean, Danny's had weapons before, right? You seen he's done with
nothing like that. Not a Jetta, not a Addison, not a TJ Hawkinson, not a Aaron Jones.
Drewski.
And it's a better offensive line.
Darnold will get the contract.
Dare I say,
Herbert the pervert got that Chris Hansen treatment.
I think Darnold's going to go to I think he's going to an AFC team. And I think Daniel Jones is going to be the quarterback of the Vikings next year. And if he does struggle, J.J. McCarthy gets inserted in like he was picked as the heir apparent. You know what I mean? They didn't pick him so high in that draft just to keep sitting.
You don't think the Vikings just pay Sam after the year they just had?
I mean, if you do that, then you got to trade McCarthy. I wouldn't trade him. I wouldn't. See,
that's not the, it's not.
Don't fall in the trap of what the Giants did, Minnesota. Jones had that one good season, playoff win, paid him, and it was never the same. What happens? You paid, look what you got. That could be the Darnold you get next year.
I mean, that could be better than what they end up with if they don't pay Darnold, though.
Who knows? Maybe you sign. This guy's smart enough to hide and mask Daniel Jones's flaws. Jones has a career year, and then you could trade him.
No, Daniel Jones was a flash in the pan. The Giants' playoff season was a flash in the pan. And people told me it wasn't. People told me that it was the beginning of a new era, and we see where that led. I am not going down the Primrose path when it comes to Daniel Jones. I think
Daniel Jones is going to be the starter next year, and I don't think he's going to be a bad quarterback next year for them.
I think that the Vikings just re-signed Sam Darnold. Because why wouldn't you? It would be stupid not.
Why would you? Honestly. What if you sign him and you get what you got?
That's more than what they have if they didn't have him, though.
But if you sign him and you get what you got in the last 2 weeks,
they'll take it.
Is it worth it?
They'll take it for them.
Why would you?
You got him at a
discount. That's a 5-11, 5-12 season then.
You got him at a discount.
$30 million's a discount
compared to what they were gonna pay. When everybody was saying he was the comeback player of the year. I mean,
I just don't.
I don't think you let that guy leave town.
He's leaving.
Honestly, I don't see it. Where would he go? The Raiders? Where's his spot? It would be Vegas.
You got
right?
Raiders.
That's the spot.
Dare I see Tennessee?
I don't know.
New Orleans. Maybe they cut Derek Carr.
Oscar, I never got your professional. What's your professional opinion on the Skins versus Lions and Eagles versus Rams match?
Well, maybe Andrew, you're just going to have to keep watching until we get to that point.
Mike McCarthy to Minnesota.
We will be breaking it down.
McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys did part ways this past week. Jerry Jones came out and
said, Darnold to Tennessee.
Jerry Jones said that he will be the owner and general manager and coach of the Dallas Cowboys until he dies, which sets up the perfect murder mystery movie of who killed Jerry Jones to take over the team.
What I said? I said his sons should try to get him he has Alzheimer's. He
must have some crazy secrets.
No, he just solely owns it, bro. He solely owns it.
Be moved. He is the piece on the board that cannot.
Alex,
be
did
moved.
I miss anything? Listen, I didn't announce it yet. I just accepted the deal, Alex.
Oh, that you accepted? Okay, here we go.
I accepted the Dynasty deal.
We got a trade in Dynasty League. Of course, RJ was the first one to comment on the trade.
What was it? The usual?
No, he made a little face. Made the little emoji right here. So trade just went down in Dynasty. Kingpin's Dynasty League. Oscar O Money will be receiving Drake May, the 2025 111,
the
the 2025 108,
and whatever,
and the 2026 first rounder. In exchange for trade with Alexi will be receiving Mark Andrews, Bijan Robinson, and the 2026 second round pick. Trade just went down 5 minutes ago in the Dynasty League. Kingpin's Dynasty. It's getting active. Dave Batista heavyweight championship belt. Right about that, buddy. I got the
picks
big
in the
gold,
first round, baby. 3
and
picks
I'm
in the
looking for
first
more.
round.
You got 3 picks in the first round. You've got the 102, which is the most important pick. You've got back-end picks. You got the 108. You've got the 111.
Whoever's in our Dynasty League, understand all 3 of those picks, I'm picking 3 rookie running backs.
Why are you telling them that?
I'm just telling you that. So understand.
There's people that pick before you. Why would you say that out loud?
Well, now they got to do it. Because maybe it's going to fall into what I want them to really do.
Why would you say that?
Do I really want to pick 3 running backs?
Knives Out, Jerry Jones edition, bro. It's going to be Clue, the Dallas edition. You're going to see him on the ground with a knife in his chest, and then you're going to ask yourself, who done it?
I'm telling you, I think it's going to be a hostile takeover one day by his son. They're gonna present him to run his daily duties as an owner.
They're gonna slip something into his.
He's gonna get a court order. You watch
into his evening.
It's either gonna be that or he passes away. Those are the only 2 ways I see.
Make him a little,
either way. Like
make him a little drowsy.
Who wants to coach for Dallas? And it's nothing against the team because there's players there.
Or Deion Sanders does.
There are players there. So it's not like there's nothing that you can build off of. This team just won 12 games a year ago.
Dan Quinn could have been their coach, but
So the problem is it's not the players, it's not the team, it's not the city. It's the guy who signs the check who wants to run things his way. This is the same guy who paid Ezekiel Elliott $90-some million for 5 years. We thought Elliott ruined the running back market, but thanks to Saquon Barkley and thanks to Derrick Henry, running backs are probably going to get paid again this summer. This 2 months from now, March, when free agency begins. A guy like Najee Harris is probably going to get paid. A guy like Jaylen Warren is probably going to get paid. The other running backs, J.K. Dobbins, who only signed a 1-year deal, is probably going to get a lot more than what he got last year.
One-leg Dobbins. Dallas isn't a destination for a coach. You have to follow someone else's plan.
Exactly, Paul. That is the perfect way to put it. You're going there to coach, but the guy says, this is what we have. This is make it work.
You're following the plan of a 93-year-old.
That's why I don't see Deion doing it. Deion's not going to sit back and do Jerry's way.
Jerry Jones
it's just not going to happen.
Drop dead for the better of their fans. he already let you guys know his dead body. All right,
I can see Arthur Smith going to Dallas.
Gibbs' contract is going to look nice. That's a good name. He's the most important running back.
Hell,
right now,
David Montgomery's contract might look good too because he only signed a 3-year deal with Detroit.
Montgomery could get a decent amount of a chunk of change, to say the least, based on how things played out this year and the renaissance of the running back position.
Robinson will probably, the guy I just traded away. You know why I traded him away, guys?
Why?
The simple fact is every time this guy gets in the 10-yard line, for some odd reason, whether it was Arthur Smith or now, I forget what Raheem Morris just says, you know what? Throw Algier in the game. And next thing you know, Algier's touchdown vulturing. And now Penix is going to turn into a touchdown vulture. So
they love Algier, bro.
I'm tired of giving a 17-point game.
It's funny
because he gets 100 yards, but no touchdown.
It's funny. We sat here and we watched Bijan get drafted by the Falcons down here.
And we still said what?
And said to ourselves, like, damn, that destroys Tyler Allgeier's value. But if anything, Tyler Algier hurts Bijan Robinson's value.
Yeah, because he takes the touchdowns.
And well, when Tyler Algier gets the ball, he makes something happen with it. That's the problem. He doesn't just go backwards. He gets the ball.
And I'm not taking nothing away from Bijan Robinson, but at fantasy, everybody keeps talking about he's a top 5 RB1. Like, dude, I've said that the last 2 years and it hasn't come true.
He's fringe top 10.
Thank you.
Fringe top 10. It's tough to say top 5 when you look at what running backs, Henry and Barkley this year were top 5. Gibbs, top 5. There's only room
that's why I
for
made that deal.
so
Plus,
many players.
I wanted
in the top
Drake
5.
May because I think Drake May is going to turn into a superstar.
Well, I like the trade for you. You got the 102 still. You've got
and I
2
got
more
the
back end picks.
And I got the 201 and 202.
You got the 201. You got the
so I got 5 picks in the first 2 rounds.
So you have a nice amount of draft capital heading into the rookie draft. Of course, this was our startup year in the Kingpins Dynasty League, so this is our first official rookie draft.
I'm still mad,
for that
bro.
league.
I probably would have made these moves right now if we were in our original Dynasty League.
Because my original traded or let go.
My original Dynasty League, dude, I had Josh Jacobs, I had Bijan, I had like the whole team was nasty. What I had.
You had a good team over there. League didn't last.
I had Laporta and I had Kelsey.
Hope it. I mean, this is.
I had Josh Allen, bro. I lost Josh Allen because of this bullshit.
We're going into year 2 of another Dynasty League, so we gotta hope and pray that we get through this and are able to see year 3, because usually this is where the wonky stuff starts happening.
I'm also anxious to see who Vrabel's going to hire on offensively.
Yeah, I mean, there's talks of the Patriots potentially being in on the T. Higgins and paying him.
Bro, T. Higgins goes
trying to get back to the championship game. Alex, you and O Money making another blockbuster deal in Kingpins. Alexi, the GM, being super active in the Dynasty League. And you know what? I appreciate it. I applaud it, because these are the things that we need to happen in order to open up the trade market. This is the pre-draft free agency period for the Dynasty League. You're looking for value. You're stockpiling value. You're selling. You're buying value. And then we all know once the actual draft actually happens and we see where these rookies wind up after the draft, the values can increase, the values can decrease, and it can dramatically impact the free agency market post-draft period.
Everybody in that Dynasty League, don't be surprised if I lose again this year. Because I want that number 1 overall next year. Because you know who I'm going to take with the number 1 overall next year? Archie.
So you have your own 2026 first, right?
Yup.
Okay.
Archie Manning.
You have your own.
Because then I would have Drake May, Archie Manning, Baker Mayfield. Hopefully by then I got rid of Brock Purdy.
Alexi took
Brock Purdy, you need a quarterback, huh? You need a quarterback.
Alexi took the 108 that I traded to him for Brock and put it into a package deal.
I'm tanking for Archie, dog. In Dynasty. So
I'm not,
even with Drake May, it's like, I'm not going to tank for it. I got Drake May because if Drake May performs like I think he could, I'm gonna have a great options at quarterback.
I think that's a great trade for you. Getting Drake May plus 3 first rounders, I think, is you being able to get the most out of a deal involving Bijan Robinson, Mark Andrews.
We're not gonna make fun of the Giants, Chris. You guys aren't even in the news right now, so relax.
Mark Andrews is, he's got a couple more years. He's got a little bit left in the tank, but you're able to get rid of him, and you got
Sam Laporta.
You got a nice haul in return, and then you have one of the premier tight ends in the league that you a guy that is potentially top.
Everybody
3, top
knows
4.
I love that guy.
Yeah, there's no secret. That's your guy. That's your boy.
Every time I'm in a redraft league and it's PPR, if he's available by the 3rd round, I'm selecting him every time.
Paul Taylor left and he's back. He's got 2 different profile pictures going on. He must have just.
Oh, he's on YouTube.
He's on the YouTube. Yes, we are live on YouTube right now, ladies and gentlemen. If you are not on Facebook, they say that Facebook is for old people. Hop onto the YouTube page and type in On the Money Sports. We will be the first thing that pops up because we are live in living color for another edition of On the Money podcast. I was able to make this trade because I have 2 first rounders for next season still. So you're able to make the move. You were able to move the first rounders, and you're able to be set up in a good position for the 2026 draft. I also have 2 2026 firsts. I have Matthew's 2026, and I have Chris's 2026 first.
Matt has no picks,
but he has a competitive team, so that's basically it's one or the other. Basically, at this point, now we're going into year 2. You have a better feel, more or less, of what you want your team.
Well, here's the problem with Matt.
Whether
Love you,
you
Matt.
have the picks or you have the
But
talent.
from here on out, all the trades you do you can't use picks. You're gonna have to trade players.
You got to sell talent.
Yep,
that's what it comes down to. You're either selling picks or you're selling.
That's
talent.
why I try to hold on to picks, because if I can double my picks, I can use my picks to make offers.
And I think that Matthew is at a point right now, like a couple of guys in the league, where he's going to have.
New York Times released their mock draft for next year. Would you like to know who? So is this for the NFL draft, Paul? If it is, go ahead and lay it down. Who's getting number 1 overall?
Yeah,
who are the Tennessee Titans taking number 1 overall?
Or
are the Titans going to trade for Dak Prescott?
I mean, I think that one thing that people are forgetting is the dead cat money involved in a situation like that, which I think would make a deal with them very hard to.
They can't move them.
Do
it would cost a lot of cap.
I know that they're trying to get this cute little reunion of old Dallas Cowboys all together. They're trying to strike up the band and get that old feeling back, but we got to be realistic here at some point. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'll take Dak Prescott over drafting Shador or Cam Ward. I'll take Dak, and then however many firsts we can get from the Cowboys.
That looks horrible
in order to move the 101. Well, you could have done something about it, but you didn't. That's the problem. Whenever it comes down to you and me in the fantasy playoffs, you already know what
New York Times got Cam Ward going to Tennessee number 1 overall.
I like Ward more than Shador, to be honest with you. There's less.
Yo, Mike.
There's less how you say baggage when it comes down to
before the draft hits. We got when the combine hits, we all got to get together for a podcast episode so we could talk about Jackson Dart. Because I think that kid is going to move up. I know right now he's projected late second, early third. I'm telling you, I think that kid's he's going to, if he has a good combine, it's going to go like this. Straight up.
Dart is next year, though, 2026, right?
No, this year. Supposedly Jackson Dart's coming out. I can't wait to see what idiot's going to try to pick Quinn Ewers, because I am not a fan of Quinn Ewers out of Texas.
This is not the draft for quarterbacks, man. This is
we got Cleveland at 2 with Abdul Carter at Penn State. Yeah, he's going to be a monster. If they pick Abdul Carter, does a Myles Garrett trade happen?
It could. They could potentially mean that there's a Myles Garrett trade looming. And also, why wouldn't you at this point? You can get the most value out of him now, and don't wait too long. You know, you can't. Don't let it get stale. That's one of the things that
Giants would take Travis Hunter at 3.
Travis Hunter at 3.
It's crazy because it's mock draft season, and we're not even over. We haven't even hit divisional round playoffs, and we got mock drafts out already. That just tell you NFL rules sports.
We're ready to move on. We are ready to move on from this year. Congrats to whoever wins the Super Bowl, but we are in the off season right now, potentially.
The longest off season in all of sports is the NFL.
Yeah.
Think about that.
We're going to be in a good off season this year, though. It's going to be interesting, and it's a massive NFL draft.
I still think they should get rid of the 7 seeds. Go back to the 6 playoff teams, and the 2 best records get the buys.
They're making more money off having extra.
I know,
teams,
but
so,
it's
so,
just
there's no turning back. You know
what's going to happen? They're going to end up watering it down more, and they're going to add an AC, bro.
Tournament, a full-blown King of the Ring.
I got a bad feeling.
I don't want Hunter.
I want to say by 2030.
His life. Also, they have the Raiders taking Sanders, by the way.
Yo, is it true him and his girl sleep in separate beds?
They have separate bedrooms.
What the hell? Bro, if that's not a red flag, Travis, then I don't know what is.
I just want to know if he's going to be playing wide receiver or defense. I don't care about none of his personal stuff. I want to know how you would be beneficial to me in fantasy. I don't give a shit about your regular life. Sorry. I'm not going to pretend to care about that. I need to know how many fantasy points you're going to be able to get me should I potentially invest in that basket. But I'm probably not, because I have the 101 and the 103, and then I'm out of this rookie draft. I could care less what the rest of you do with those picks, because the only picks that matter to me
you only
are
got
top
those
5
2 picks.
Yeah.
You have no second, no third. Well, I know I got your second.
No.
You got no third or fourth.
I got rid of all that crap. I'm out of it. I don't care about none of that. Damn. That 24-hour clock, Don't matter to me.
Nah, bro, screw that 24-hour clock, dog.
That's how it's gonna go, though. That's how it's gonna be.
Man.
That draft is not gonna happen in a night.
That draft's gonna start on a Saturday and end the following Saturday.
Potentially, yeah. But that's what happens when you have people who are not as involved.
But then half of them will be talking shit like what? They'll be ready to draft, but then when it's their turn, they take the whole 24 hours. It makes no sense.
I'm gonna be quick. I'm gonna be the quickest. So you guys aren't gonna have to wait for me. And once I draft my second pick at the 103, I don't give a shit what you guys do. I'm not checking back in there until the draft is done.
NFL at very
worst teams, the winner of that gets top pick to prevent tank mode. That'll be a nice little interesting spin and a way for the NFL to generate more money. Who knows? They're always
I can see the NFL doing what the NBA does.
What?
The lottery with the 10 worst teams. Well, maybe you do the 5 worst teams, and then from there you go.
If Hunter goes to New York, he's playing cornerback. That's not enticing.
That's not enticing at all.
There's not much you could do with him at that point if he does that. Say goodbye to this.
Speaking of coaching, Robert Saleh is going to be scheduled for an interview with Dallas.
Really?
He fits the mold of a yes man for Jerry. I know Arthur Smith finished the interview today with the Bears, and tomorrow he has an interview with the Jets. I know Ben Johnson right now is the favorite to get the Raiders job. Aaron Glenn has come out and said he wants to, he's put his feelers out saying he wants the Jets job. But if I'm the Jets, do I really want to hire another defensive head coach? Do I not want to try to get an offensive-minded guy in there?
And also, what happens?
Is Garrett Wilson coming back next season, or is he getting traded?
What happens to the Detroit Lions offense when Ben Johnson gets hired?
Yeah, because he's going to take some of his guys with him to promote. I'm pretty sure Ben Johnson's going to call his own plays next year as the head coach wherever he goes. And I think Dan Campbell's smart enough to promote the right people because you see he's made the right moves with these assistants. So I could see Antoine Randall L becoming the new offensive coordinator. That's a name you don't hear often. He could become the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions.
It's different, though, man. It's definitely going to impact the way that team. Is this their best shot? Already? Are we already talking about potentially this being?
This team's built for the long haul. That's what people don't understand. A lot of their players are young. Some of them are still in their they're only in their third year. Hutchinson is will be going into his third year next, because this was his second year. Laporta, second year. Yeah. They already signed Amon-Ra. Jamo's his fourth year?
I'm just saying.
So a lot of their players they're built for the long haul, and they're going to run the North. Whether all you Packer fans, Vikings fans, or Bear fans don't like it, Detroit's going to run the NFC North for at least the next 3 years.
Ben Johnson might see what happened with the 2023 Birds. A bit of a step back for the offense. I could see the offense taking a step back until they figure things out. I think it'll be a big difference. It's one of those things where with success, people get hired from within the organization, and you start to lose key pieces to what made you successful.
Adam Gase should have never been hired. That was wild when the Jets hired him. He just got fired for the Dolphins being a terrible football team, and they hired him. Your owner is just as bad as anything with talent value. He lets his kids dictate who are good or not.
The Dolphins are losers. They're never going to win anything anytime soon.
I will say, here's the problem. If you hire another defensive guy, bro, it's going to be the Robert Saleh thing again. He's going to be he's going to be so focused on defense.
Jalen Waddle's about to be your wide receiver 1. Tua's still your quarterback, and the Dolphins are going to be nobodies in a division that is manageable. A division where I would say you could at least get yourself a wild card being in that division. Dolphins might not even be able to get that. They're cooked. Their window has shut on their fingers.
Yeah.
While their fingers are still on the windowsill, and the window has slammed shut on their hands. Their fingers are now red, blood uncirculating to the tips. And
you want a bold prediction?
Dolphins can't win in the cold.
I don't think Tyreek Hill goes anywhere.
Doesn't matter when the owner is the issue. Yeah, No different than.
I don't think Tyree goes anywhere.
No, you think he stays with Miami?
Yep. I think it's all smoke and mirrors. And I also think
shenanigans.
If Tyreek Hill was traded, he's not going back to Kansas City. So Chiefs fans need to chill out. That's another team that'll probably trade him to like an NFC team just to get him out of conference. Or you could see us trade straight up Hill for Deebo Samuel.
Hill to San Fran,
and Deebo to the Dolphins. Because Deebo would fit right in because it's the same systems offense that San Francisco runs.
It'd be like a 7-win team, Miami. Not even lose enough to get themselves a pick that matters. That's the problem. Miami has enough talent to not be a top 5 pick, but they don't have enough talent to.
Don't I know all about that?
They don't have enough to win in the cold and to have themselves, potentially be one of the big dogs in the AFC. The Miami Dolphins are not one of the big dogs. They are one of the big dogs in September to October. The problem is when it gets cold outside and they have to go out and play in the cold, they have to go to Buffalo, they have to go to Baltimore, they have to go to Kansas City. Any of those places, they can't beat any of those teams.
You're right.
And that is the story of the Miami Dolphins to this point. And how long before McDaniel's seat gets hot and you start to question his capability as far as how he can develop talent and put together a team that can remain competitive in late December when you need to win these games the most. I am off of the Miami Dolphins. I think they are frauds. I've thought that since I watched them lose on Peacock last year. I felt like that was one of the best opportunities that they had to be able to beat a team in Kansas City that everybody says they're beatable, but nobody can beat them. So I don't know. I don't understand.
I did read that too, Chris, about the reports that they've all mended their fences and nothing's going to happen.
Everybody apologized.
Drew Rosenhaus already confirmed it too on the Pat McAfee show that Hill does not desire a trade.
Okay.
That it was really out of frustration and at the heat of the moment.
The Finns are a reflection of McDaniels. They're soft. Yeah.
I could see McDaniels is going to get fired next year. After, me and Alexi made another prediction together.
So the seat is hot now.
His seat's hot.
The seat's hot right now.
We made a prediction today, me and him, and we both agreed on it, which I was surprised, but we've been agreeing lately on things.
Yeah, because he wants to get a trade done.
Yeah, but he agreed with me, and I think you're going to agree. I think you're going to agree with me too. If the Bengals start 1-3 or 2-4 next season, that Taylor's going to get fired. That they're not going to wait till the end of the season. He's going to get fired right then and there.
Yeah,
we both see it makes sense.
It does. Another
to Alex start. Even Alex said it's crazy that they ain't thinking about making a change now.
They are notoriously slow starters. They usually turn it around. They kind of almost did turn it around, but Denver managed to close out and get that last playoff spot this year. However, another slow start next year. We talk about a potential 1-3 or 1-4 start. Then you gotta make a change somewhere. You can't continue to keep doing the same things expecting different results. And one of them being Cincinnati.
Really? You can't do that?
Oh, you know all about that. As far as the standard is the standard. Yeah. Is that the quote?
The standard just getting a winning record and being one and done.
Yeah. For Pittsburgh it is. I don't know. Listen, a lot of our teams don't know what we're doing, okay? At least you guys know what you're doing in the regular season. But once it gets to the playoffs, you're just as lost as the rest of us.
You know what's crazy? I was reading a report that the sense that some of the reporters got from their sources in the building were it's not so much that they are befuddled about how they were 10-3 and how it all fell off. They have no answer as to what triggered this.
You lost to all the good teams.
And that scares me.
You lost to all the good teams. You had 3 games in 11 days, and you
now
lost all of them.
Now I'd like to know, was it Russell Wilson's people that leaked this out? Or did somebody who was rooting for Russell?
His little fucking.
Was it somebody in the building who wanted Russ to succeed, letting out about how him and Arthur Smith didn't get along?
You say what you want about Arthur Smith. He wanted to keep playing Fields. Never forget.
Yeah, he
was looking at it like we're 1-1. Well, why are we doing this right now?
No, we're 4-2. What
4-2.
Let's run it.
Let's run it. And yeah, Chris, that players respond differently to different methods of coaching. Fangio's an old school guy. Obviously, what he's doing with the Eagles defense is absolutely phenomenal. He's got them looking like a buzzsaw right now. Dolphins defense, talented, loaded with talent, but they are not responding the same way as the Eagles players
Chris,
are.
I think the record would have still been the same, 10-7.
Fields started all year, so you guys are just doomed to be in.
I think Fields would have. I do think Fields would have won one of those games in December. Maybe two of them. I do think he would have beaten the Bengals.
It's tough, man. The rug got pulled out from under him, so he didn't really get the chance to see what he could have developed.
I also believe that he's going to be the quarterback next year. I've said that last week, and I'll maintain it. I think he signs a 2-year contract. It's the easiest way to go. And I think we're in this middle phase, but I think the Steelers are going to do something very out of pocket this offseason. They're going to have after they do a couple cuts, right now they're at $53 million. But there's 4 players they can cut that, honestly, I wouldn't be mad they cut because I don't think they give you any value on your team. That's going to push it up to $80 million.
You guys need wide receivers.
I honestly think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be very active in free agency.
You guys definitely need wide receivers.
They're feeling the pressure. I think
listen to the Browns.
That'd be
interesting.
I think Mike Tomlin's on the hot seat this year. I think it's going to be officially on the hot seat.
About time, because
they're not going to cut
stale, bro.
Because at the end of the day,
same song and dance.
If this wasn't the Pittsburgh Steelers, he'd have been fired already. He's Marvin Lewis now.
Ooh. That hurts.
And it also goes to show you
Oscar,
that Ben Roethlisberger bailed his ass out a lot. It's starting to look like that.
It's funny how 2 years can change the perspective on a player, because I feel like all of us are all saying all of a sudden, I'll take Justin Fields. You take him. I'd take him.
Remember, I wanted him in the offseason. Before there was even – if you go back into this podcast at this time last year, around maybe a week after or so.
Rick said trade Watt. Yeah, where's he been? He hasn't done shit. What, 193 snaps?
I put that on my Facebook post.
193 snaps and nothing?
If you blow it down.
Not a single defensive thing, a stat recorded. What the hell happened to what's the matter with you? That guy was lights out during the regular season, and then all of a sudden.
I on this podcast a year ago, said I wanted Justin Fields. I wanted them to trade for Justin Fields to compete with Kenny Pickett. I said that. And then they got rid of Pickett, and then they signed Russ, and then I was like, oh. But all that hoopla, pole position, I knew Russ was going to be the starter no matter what, which I said, damn, that sucks for Justin Fields, because I wanted Fields. Because if Fields does really well, we look, all right, cool, you may have a guy for the next 10 years. But if he does terrible, you're picking in the top 5 finally, and maybe you can get that elusive guy to be your guy for the next 15, 20 years.
I think they have to give Fields a shot to start next year, have to see what they have in him for more than just 6 games. Their ceiling is limited with Russ.
Russell's
and then
not coming
Chris
back.
Puts the eyes out as soon as Watt is mentioned, because I know that he would love to have TJ Watt out there with Philly and what the Birds got going on, but would you guys trade with your cousins and Penny?
Nah, I would see them trading him to Green Bay.
Green Bay. That'd be
go back home to Wisconsin.
Ugh, Green Bay. Boy, did they shit the bed. That was a tough watch.
I don't,
disgusting.
We're at the point that we got to do something different. You know who's a name to watch out for? Not my dog, but the real life Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Oh, the one that Derrick Henry stiff-armed into oblivion?
So that's another name to watch out for.
Minkah was added to the long list of stiff-arm victims. The man Derrick Henry put him in an isolation chamber.
I watched that game, and they're just walking around.
Going through the motions.
There was no fight. Like, they lost. Like, what the freak?
Going through the motions. You go into the playoffs, a 4-game losing streak. You can't expect to turn it all on one night. And
they lost. They had a chance still, even when it was 14-0. I was like, you know what? They got a chance to make it competitive. Once it became, when Lamar did that, held that ball for like 8 seconds, got that pass off the hill, I was like, oh, it's over.
A Myles Garrett trade to the Birds. Yeah. That could potentially be a little bit more realistic than
I think Myles Garrett's going to be traded.
We gotta. Are we officially on Myles Garrett watch on this podcast?
He came out and said he wants to stay with Cleveland and wants to sign an extension, but I'm going to say it's a lie, and I'm going to say we are officially on Myles Garrett watch.
He deserves better. He did his time in Cleveland, right? He did his time. He paid his dues. He got his awards. He was the best player on that football team for years. They're not doing nothing. They're going to run it back with the same crew from last year. Watson, blown Achilles again. They don't even have a quarterback as of right now.
I would trade anything for Garrett.
Oof. I mean, there's potential to get him. And that's one of those guys where I haven't even thought about where he would
haul for him is going to be ridiculous when they trade him. They might be able to get 2 first-round picks in a second for him.
It'll be a nice little.
And he's a non-quarterback we're talking about, and you might be able to get that for him.
Technically, still in his prime. Yeah. Technically, still in his prime.
You know.
So
another name to watch out is Micah Parsons. I don't think Dallas is re-signing that guy. And I know a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans that wouldn't mind seeing him traded so that they could get a bunch of picks.
If they have a plan to improve. Basically, he's saying he doesn't want to be on a losing team anymore. Yeah, he already came out. He doesn't want to be part of it.
What about the report about Deshaun Watson today? About how Stefanski helped create a plan for him, like
let's all just pray the Commanders don't trade for him. Oof.
An offensive plan for him, right? Like play action, like he was taking like a McVay type approach because, you know, he's kind of from that branch. And he said, no, I want to operate out of the shotgun.
Watson?
Yeah. That everything's coming out now about him, that he's been very hard to coach, and that the same offense that he didn't want to learn, that was taking him forever to learn, Joe Flacco learned in 30 days.
Yeah, because Flacco's old school.
And that on Monday sessions, on film sessions, whenever he was making mistakes, Stefanski wasn't pointing it out. But then when Winston was the quarterback, he started pointing out the mistakes of quarterback play. So it's like that, like some of the guys were losing respect for Stefanski.
Why is it that all your backups can get the ball down the field? Winston did it. Flacco not only did it, but got them into the playoffs, dog. Flacco's from another era. He's from another time, you know? These defenses don't scare Flacco the same way. He's been through the ringer.
Yeah, Myles Garrett's going to wind up in the NFC East. Oh, that's my bold prediction. I don't know what team, but it's going to be the NFC East.
Well, Parsons for Garrett, maybe? A few picks in between?
That would be crazy.
Like, what is Dallas really doing? What are they doing, bro? Are you guys going to trade us? You guys want the one-on-one? Are you guys – what are you doing?
I don't see Deion taking that job. I don't.
Why don't they just draft Genty because they need him? How about that? How about go off of what you need? Who's calling this? Who's drafted? Is it the old man?
I'm Jared Jones.
Is it the old man?
And I approve this message.
He's gonna draft Genty? Is that his call?
He would. Like, I could see him doing that.
How do you? Oh man, they need to put some melatonin in his applesauce, bro. I'm sorry. But go night for a draft night. Go night, and you know,
wake up.
Let your son and let the the coherent people manage, what needs to be done. Well, it won't be the Giants. Howie swoops down and picks him up. It's an interesting conversation, man. We're talking about one of the premier rushers, edge rushers in the league potentially being available, and
Derek White has
potentially going to the. He does. Oh, do you have any assists? You looking through your parlay?
Yeah,
I haven't checked mine yet. It's not that time for me just yet. I'll check it in like 10 to 15 minutes.
Bro, we're in the third.
Jones just hired himself as the head coach. Imagine,
bro, he's
getting ready to go do an interview.
In 12 minutes, he's 1 of 4 from the 3. That's his 3 points. Is a 3-point shot. 1 assist.
Mm-hmm. Well, we still gotta believe. I have Derek White on a slip, so I'm not gonna talk bad about him just yet. I'm gonna be positive. It's been 1 quarter. There's still time. Maybe Boston's just messing around, just having some fun, and maybe they turn it up in the second quarter, hoping that they can go into the half with a solid, solid number that can help you to get over the hump. Yeah, I saw that.
Is that because of Mark Andrews?
Probably. Everybody has an opinion on a trade. Most people that have opinions on trades aren't capable of making the trades, but they have an opinion on a trade that happens. Dak signs Prime to be the head coach and drafts Shador. Well, that was the rumor and innuendo, but the dead cap thing is part of why I feel like the negotiations may not potentially happen. It's all fantasy booking at this point in time, as far as them and us potentially, making a deal with one another. I'm all for it if we can get Dak Prescott and a couple first round picks. If we can get a 2026 first, I would be okay with that, because I don't see us being competitive just yet. So if we could have 2 firsts going into next year, I'd be kind of excited for that. And we got to, Dak would be the bridge. He can't move, bad leg. So you're basically getting Tannehill 2.0, because yes, him and Tannehill have the same amount of playoff wins. I'm not going to say he's much better than Ryan Tannehill, because at the end of the day, they both got 2 playoff wins. I would take Dak Prescott over what we have going on right now, knowing that we can't develop a rookie quarterback anyway.
Imagine just going to another team and just concentrating on football.
I mean, that could work wonders for people, right? Smaller market.
You ain't got to worry about it. Your owner's freaking a lunatic.
She is Dixie Carter. Doesn't know what she's doing. But at the end of the day, it's not like you are part of a functional organization to begin with. So you're going from one form of dysfunction to another. Jerry is too egotistical to step aside. He believes he's the only one who is right, and the long-term success of that team is tied to a man who believes he knows best. And that's why Troy Aikman came out and said, basically, that football team has never been the same since Jim Johnson walked out, because nobody since him has been able to actually run the football part.
Barry Switzer won.
That team was already set up. That was Jimmy Johnson's team.
Player. Yeah.
Switzer won with Jimmy Johnson's squad.
That should have been Jimmy Johnson,
that
would have been his third Super Bowl.
That would have been his third. That was his team. You look at the Switzer just came in and he was in the perfect position. He didn't last long though. His song and dance didn't last long after that.
He was gone
in 98, right?
Yeah. I think he only lasted 95, 96, 97.
Talking about a Super Bowl winner. In 95, the 49ers finally got over the hump and beat them. They came back. They responded. They got back to the promised land in 96. They beat Pittsburgh. They won the championship. And then it's been, what we have now.
I mean, Neil O'Donnell won the Super Bowl for the Cowboys.
It's been where we're at now. Where he won with Jimmy's old playbook. Yeah.
Barry Switzer was a terrible pro football coach, and that's why after he left the Cowboys, you never seen him again.
That team was set up, and that's a credit to how good Jimmy Johnson was. The fact that he had something,
Troy Aikman,
and he was removed from the picture, and that team was still sustainable for another 2 years, long enough to get another Super Bowl.
Troy Aikman was the run, pretty much getting the team ready. He was the one telling Barry, look at these guys. They came in late for curfew. Make them run till they throw up. Troy Aikman's telling him what to do. That's how you knew it just wasn't there. But enough of that. Let's get ready for these divisional playoffs. First game up Saturday. Who's the first game? The Chiefs or the Lions?
It's AFC, I believe.
So it's Chiefs-Texans. I'm going to go on a limb. Chiefs are going to win by 14.
Yeah. Chiefs are going to win this game. There's no...
I think Mahomes is going to start off a little slow, a little sluggish.
Everybody's coming back. Chris Jones is coming back. Pacheco's coming back.
But
everybody's coming back.
I think by the second quarter, he's just going to be fine.
Best coach in the league. Nobody better coming off of a bye. Nobody better coming off of rest. Best coach, best quarterback, best matchup, when you really think about it.
Uh-huh.
And they are going to do what they did a couple weeks back, and they are going to beat the Texans, and the Chiefs are moving on to the AFC Championship game. And then we are going to have the Lions versus the Commanders.
Which is an interesting game.
Spunky Commanders, bro.
Detroit is a 9.5-point favorite.
No punts or turnovers by Washington this past week.
I'm going to go on a limb. and say the Detroit Lions are going to beat Washington. So Philly faithful, stop hoping for the Washington upset so that you can host the NFC Championship.
Yeah, they're always hoping for the easier matchup.
So you're going the Lions. I expect them to beat the Commanders by at least 17. This is going to be a blowout.
The Paul Taylor NFC title lock: Commanders versus Birds. That would be crazy, bro.
The Lions are going to beat the Commanders by at least 17 points. Yep. The Commanders are Jaden Daniels will finally look like a rookie because now there's going to be a ton of pressure this round because now if the Lions get out to an early 14-0 lead, oh boy.
Hey, there's no shame in losing to the Lions. You guys came out, you beat a division champion in Tampa Bay. Nobody thought you were going to win that game. Maybe a few people did, but you came out there. Not only did you do it, but you had no punts and no turnovers in a playoff game, your first playoff game. Like, he did not look like a rookie this past week. Maybe in Detroit, against Detroit, he'll probably look more like a rookie. Or maybe he goes out there, they lose, but he still looks good losing. Maybe he goes out there and gives Detroit a run for their money, and he kind of plants the seed of doubt, or maybe sets the blueprint as far as what it takes to go up against Detroit in the playoffs and, knock them off of their pedestal, the favored sons of the NFC. I don't think the Commanders win. I mean, if they do, that would be insane. But I am more of a believer in Jaden Daniels and the Commanders.
The Eagles are going to have to go to Detroit and break Fred's heart. I don't know about that, Chris.
That'd be interesting.
I think this is the Lions' year.
A lot of people think that it's really on the Lions to, finish the story, for them to be able to get to the promised land.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
I think they are. I would say they're a more complete team than Washington, but bro, I am a believer in what Dan Quinn's got going on out there, bro. Like, I don't think
the Washington Commanders are going to roll over. It's just going to be one of those things where, I just think Detroit is just loaded on offense. Their defense is going to give up some plays, but they're home. That stadium's going to be boisterous.
They're going to be rocking, bro.
Like,
they're going to be rocking.
This is going to remind me of like New York Yankee playoff baseball atmosphere, or hell, even when the Phillies, Red October where Citizens Bank's rocking. I feel you're going to get that kind of vibe in Detroit this weekend.
Yeah, think about a franchise hungry for a championship, a franchise that is starving to put themselves in the upper echelon, who hasn't been able to.
I don't know if he's coming back, but I don't think it matters. Jahmyr Gibbs is amazing.
He might be ready. Montgomery might be ready to come back, and if he is, then Gibbs is still going to be amazing. Montgomery's going to be amazing, and Detroit does have their work cut out for them, because this young, upstart, spunky Commanders team is not going to make it easy. I don't think they're just going to roll over. I could see the Lions winning by 2 possessions, but I don't think it's going to be, a gimme like right away. I think that we're in for a good Saturday night main event between those two teams.
It's how Washington responds going next season. Is next season, are they going to win? What did they win? 10 games? They won 11 games this year, right?
It was 11. They had the same record as the Packers.
Are they going to be able to win 11 games again next year? Like, now you're not catching nobody off guard. No one's going to go into Washington like, oh, man, that Daniels kid surprised me. There's film out now. It's kind of like the C.J. Stroud effect.
That could be a real thing. We saw, C.J. Stroud was projected top 5, and it has not been a top 5 type of season. They are in the Elite 8 now as far as the playoffs go. However, it's been well documented his struggles this year. I think this is the end of the road for them. It could potentially be
if I had $1 million, I would bet $1 million on the Kansas City Chiefs today.
Oh, 12-6. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. 12-5. Yeah, I mean, I think the Commanders will be competitive next year. A team that I picked to be 9-8, to be the sleeper, to be an underdog, wild card, sleeper pick, ends up getting 12 wins out of this year. Like, hell, I could see them, getting 9 to 10 wins next year. Why not? Could happen. And they have absolutely nothing to be ashamed of if they go into Detroit and lose. This year was a win.
7 more points.
This year was a win. A team that a lot of people didn't expect to do much. They went out there and they made a whole lot of noise. They split with the Birds. They got their respect. And, regardless if this is the end for them, they are one game away from the NFC title game. First playoff win for that franchise since 2005. The first time that they've won in Tampa Bay in a playoff game since I don't know how long ago that was. A lot of positives to take away for this year from the Commanders. It would be an absolute major disappointment if Detroit can't get the job done. If the Commanders can't get the job done, it's expected. If Detroit can't get the job done, like this is just wow, bro. Like to get the 1 seed and then fall short to the upstart team, there's no excuse for that. There's no coming back from that. That's ugly.
You're right.
That's a long off season, is what that is. Long off season.
I will not ignore that at all.
So we've got the Chiefs. I'm going Lions. I think it'd be interesting if the Commanders pull it off. I don't think they will.
This Friday from 2:45 to 3:30 on Pittman Avenue in Pittman, New Jersey, the Eagles playoff bus will be there for you Eagles fans.
Hop on the playoff bus, guys. Hop on the playoff bus. Go around town.
Just seen it advertised on the Sixers game.
Have some water ice.
Water.
And have yourself a day. I think this might be the least talented team that Daniels will play with. They'll get better. Yeah, I think they build off of this as well. I don't think that they regress.
Maybe a certain GM should have listened to his son. Just saying. That's all I'll say today. I won't say anything else bad. I promise.
What? You talking about the Giants? Giants not listening.
If you're looking for something, open up the closet door over there.
Where?
The Toys R Us closet.
There's no water.
Toys R Us.
Yeah, but instead they're listening to the doofus GM who doesn't know what he's doing, and he's getting fed false information from Lord knows who's talking to him on the other side of that phone. They told him the Eagles are out.
WTF did I say, Oscar? What was it? What was the response from the son? You only get one chance to do this job.
Take advantage of his rookie contract. They get $70 million a season by the time his rookie contract is up. Yeah, like this is the opportunity for the Commanders to maximize.
Yo, who was I watching? I talked about this. I think I talked about this last week, or maybe it was a coworker.
I've had one of these in a while. This is damn good.
LaShawn McCoy talking about how these quarterbacks are getting paid and they're not even that good. He goes, you got Trevor Lawrence making all this money and he's not even that good.
What you're saying, though? What you're saying? Your famous saying?
The market.
The standard is the standard. And the market is the market. These guys are going to get paid, bro.
It's crazy.
Based off of the potential. Yes, based off the potential, they are going to get paid. All you need to do is have one good year. All right? One good year, you get the bag. That's all it takes, bro. The bar has never been lower. Go get your money. Go get paid. Go get paid.
I would just do franchise tags. Screw that. I'll do what Washington with Kirk Cousins. Tag them.
The Commanders are in a good position right now. They just got out of their rookie, they got themselves to the divisional round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they don't have to worry about paying him right now. They don't got to worry about that next year. And they don't have to worry about that the year after that. They can kick the can if they want to starting now and get themselves ready for a potential deal. Because at this point in time, should Jaden Daniels continue at this pace with what he's been able to do, with the comparisons to Lamar Jackson, as far as what he does with the football in his hands, if he continues to show this consistency, then yes, he is going to get a nice, payday. But all that means is a nice little bump up for everybody before him, because you already know what the argument is at the negotiation table. That guy's making that much. And what about me? I'm Joe Burrow. I'm Pat Mahomes.
The Commanders have $89 million to spend in cap space.
It's beautiful. And you don't owe your quarterback nothing. That's a real $89 million that you don't have to worry about any type of a contract for your quarterback. You can build around them. The receivers are already there. Diami Brown and those cats, they're young, talented guys. You still got Scary Terry. You've got a young, talented running back. You know,
more cap space update for everybody that wants to know.
Eckler's back in the fold.
The Saints are back to being negative 52 million.
Ugh.
The Browns are negative 29. The Seahawks are negative 27. The Dolphins are negative 11. The Falcons are negative 7. The Bills are negative 7. And the Cowboys are negative 285,000. Which is easy to move around. The Titans got 40. Yo, listen to this. Of the playoff teams, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Of the playoff teams that are in the playoffs, there's a playoff team that's going to have the 8th most cap space this offseason. Can you tell me, just guess which team that is?
8th most? What, you guys?
Nope. 8th. The Detroit Lions.
Good shit.
Will have $57 million to play with this offseason.
Good shit, man.
They're not going away.
Make it work.
They ain't going away for a while, guys.
What, 2-3 years of being on top?
Yup.
Potentially, before everybody else catches up to them. Because, you know, it's still, you know, the short window. It closes fast, but right now they are in the midst of that window being wide open and this being their opportunity. They've never had a better shot than this year. Like, this is their
We got a
shot.
whole fourth quarter. He can do it.
Oh, God. Derek White. Yeah, Celtics are. That game has just not been kind to me at all to this point. Hoping for the best here, guys. Staying positive. Everybody's just. I hate the NBA. I hate it. I hate the NBA with a passion. I'm so tired of these guys, and that's why I don't watch. I watch the NBA through DraftKings and through the Sleeper app for our fantasy basketball league. But they also have guys they got to pay too, so I don't think the Lions really have that much of an advantage. They have somewhat of an advantage to have the 8th most cap space and be, you know, the number 1 team on the NFC side, and to be able to, you know that you have your quarterback already paid, your top wide receiver target already paid. Laporta, don't really have to worry about paying him right now. The contracts that are coming up are going to be the running backs, which that's going to be an interesting conversation because of what Oscar mentioned earlier, the fact that Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley have been able to lead the way for running backs to make their comeback this year and to potentially come back to the negotiating table and start making some money again for that position. Jahmyr Gibbs is the face of, you know, if anybody's going to be getting paid a pretty penny, it's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs after, you know, the season that he's been having, the last 2 months that he's been having, Montgomery going down and him going off. But it's not that much money when you got to pay Gibbs and guys on the defense too. Well, we'll see who they pay on the defense. And you know, again, Ben Johnson getting removed from that equation, I feel like is going to dramatically impact the way that offense looks. I feel like that's going to be the big issue as far as Detroit goes.
I looked at that too. In 2026, they'll have $22 million in cap space still. So they could just give Goff a new extension.
Kick the can. you kick the can down the road.
Oh my goodness, 204.
If it lands in the grass.
204. Please drain the clock.
Just keep kicking that can.
Drain the clock.
He took the under on this, under 216. Right now, a team that people keep telling me is good, the New York Knicks, is currently tied 102 with the Sixers. A offensive foul on Josh Hart. So the Sixers are about to get the ball back in a tied ball game. Once again, a Knicks team who I was told was good.
Detroit will end up like the 49ers. I don't think so.
We'll see.
This team believes in their coach more than I think they believe than the 49ers believe in like Kyle Shanahan.
And that how long before that seat gets hot?
That seat should be hot.
You know, what are we waiting for there? Why is it
what
not
was
hot,
the stat we read? The 49ers with Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers either miss the playoffs or make the playoffs and go to the title game.
Like, are we sitting
That's
here?
the stat. So he either misses playoffs or when he makes the playoffs, they make either the NFC, they at least make the NFC title game.
Are we sitting here and assuming that just because the 49ers had a down year that they're just going to turn it around next year. Why? Because they had a bad year this year. What if they have another bad year?
A lot of their players are back, but they have a lot of free agents too.
It's definitely tough for San Fran. I mean, I'll say that. The Sixers, I stopped paying attention. Yeah, a lot of us did, but it's a nice, background visual to have when we're live on the pod. Josh Hart makes up for it with a dunk. It's now 104 to 102 in the ball game.
Don't score another 10 points.
The Sixers are trash this year.
Don't score another 10
points. They're absolutely garbage.
Yeah, this team
they're not going to get any better anytime soon.
I don't understand how this team flows. I don't.
Just skip basketball season and put your Philly caps on and hope for the best from those guys.
Pitchers and catches report in a month.
They will pay Purdy. They will pay Purdy. It's going to be a Purdy penny that they give him. But I think
drain the clock.
Drain
your possession.
You want to talk about how things get stale in some places? I think things are starting to get stale bread in San Francisco.
But
in my opinion,
does San Fran cave in and pay this guy 60 plus a year?
49ers are on the brink of a rebuild. Shanahan won't be leading them through it. And
212.
We have some good intel as far as one member of the 49ers and a key player of the 49ers, none other than Christian McCaffrey. He is taking a trip back to Germany, folks. He is going back to Germany.
We got the proof.
To get checked out. And this is a fact. He is going back to Germany.
His flight was confirmed too for Germany by the person we know. I'm telling, this is not made up. We don't want to put our friend out there because I'm not going to try. We're not trying to get him in trouble with his job. But the photo was taken. The follow-up was correct. He was going there. He was not lying about. He is going to Germany to get a checkup. Because remember, overseas they do different types of stem cell treatments that are allowed over there that aren't allowed here in the States.
Don't be surprised if you hear it on national media when it happens that Christian McCaffrey's back out there.
That he went over into Europe to Germany to get something. Remember where you heard it here first.
Damn near half the San Fran team is going to be free agents. Yeah, there's too much going on with that football team right now. Way too much going on.
You heard it here first. Don't forget that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't like their odds for next season. I really don't. I don't know, especially with what we saw this year, because they not only did they have a bad year, but you have teams like Green Bay and teams like Washington who ended up getting 12 and 11 wins each. Like, teams surpassed them. The teams were already ready to fill that spot. It happens fast in this league. You drop off, and that just means good things for another team, and there is somebody ready to fill the position. So you're talking about back-to-back bad years?
But Isaac Guerrero couldn't stay healthy either.
Those injuries are going to kill his career. It is. I don't think there's anything. There's no coming back from what's going on with him right now, and that could mean just, a guy who we thought was untouchable, a genius, a guru in Shanahan, potentially, losing his firm position within that organization. Because, Lynch got to be tired of, Lynch has got to be just how many more?
Say Lynch is hot?
How many more times? How many more times? How many more opportunities? You guys have squandered more opportunities than anybody else. Anybody else. Nobody has been into the Final Four as many times as you guys have. Consistently. Them and Green Bay they continue to just squander opportunities, bro.
Yeah.
Just they can't get it done. You can't close the deal. You can't close, bro. That was the conversation about San Fran when the season started. We talked about it. We assumed this team, with everybody healthy, they're going to be contenders. We already know they're going to win the West. They're potentially going to go to the NFC title game. That's not impressive anymore for us when it comes to a team that's always there. You got to close. A lot of people's smart money was saying it was going to be Niners versus Lions in the NFC title game. They missed out on all of that. They are not in the mix right now. They're not in the title contention. And we assume that they're just going to turn it around next year when everybody gets healthy, because that's everybody's. Once everybody's healthy, it's going to be different. The 49ers are never healthy. That team is never healthy. Those boys are always hurt. I always thought Shanahan was a bit overrated. He's a good scheme guy, but in the game, he isn't that great. Too many blown leads. And the problem is,
even as an OC, he's had big games where he's
in the big games,
leads.
his schemes and all that shit just blows up in his face because of his poor decision making in crucial moments. And that's the part that I kind of worry about when it comes to Dan Campbell. Are you going to let your kicker do his job, or are you going to, be the tough guy? Did you learn from your mistake last year, or are you going to push the pedal to the metal?
Oh.
What was the number? 216? Right?
216 and a half.
Okay.
If it stays at 216, I'm good, right?
Yeah, you got to be under. It's got to be under. And it is right now. It's okay. Oh.
Oh my gosh.
214.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, charge?
That was
no.
But does that he doesn't
does he go to the line? I think he does. I think he goes to the line.
No.
If he goes to overtime, forget about it.
They had a foul to give.
28-3. He was the OC. Yes, he was in the most infamous meltdown.
All they had to do was run the ball. If he ran the ball, they would have attempted a field goal, which was well in range for the kicker. It would have been an 11-point game, and the Patriots would have been mathematically unable to win the game. Oh my gosh!
If ifs were fifths, well, let's talk Sunday.
That's all they had to do. Now we're on Sunday's game. The first game is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Rams. Miss it. Damn it. Oh, it's at 216.
Ugh.
It's at 216.
I just hope nobody gets fouled, nobody gets taken to the line, and your shit's still alive. Well, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sit here and waste time. Pete Carroll is a clown. My Super Bowl prediction was Chiefs versus Rams. For that to happen, Rams need to win this weekend. I'm taking the Rams this weekend in Philly. I got the Rams beating the Eagles in Philly to move on to the NFC title game.
You have no choice. That was your pick.
That was my pick, to go to the Super Bowl. If that happens, if it's Rams and Chiefs in the bowl, I win $288. Sorry, guys. I care more about making money than I do about your team. Apologies. I like the Rams. I like what they've been doing. I've been rocking with them. Even through the tough time that they had, the tough skid, they've been playing good defense. Cooper Kupp still missing. Not sure what the issue is with that. Definitely a big challenge going up against an Eagles defense that is just playing lights out. Like they look like the best defense in the whole damn tournament right as of right now.
Uh-huh.
Got to see what the Chiefs look like after the week off, but not going to be an easy task. I'm expecting it to be a close dogfight of a game, and I'm expecting old man gunslinger Matt Stafford to pull off you got to call it an upset at this point. RP to your money. Hey, I mean, I've been wrong before, but I'm not going to switch my pick up now. That's my Super Bowl pick, so I'm riding with them in the early game. And then in the marquee matchup, the MVP versus MVP matchup, I'm not apologizing to you guys. If I get it wrong, I just be like, I'm wrong, and we just move on. You guys don't get an apology out of me for that. I don't feel sorry for picking against the Eagles. MVP versus MVP marquee matchup, Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. I'm going to take the Ravens. I'm going to take Baltimore. I'm going to take Lamar Jackson. I'm going to take Derrick Henry. I'm going to take Harbaugh. And I'm going to take those boys to go into Buffalo to get a massive victory in Buffalo against the Bills, against Josh Allen, potentially close the door on the MVP debate for this season once and for all. And Lamar Jackson cashing his ticket to another AFC title game, which would end up making it a rematch of last year's AFC title championship. It'll be the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore will expose Allen once and for all. Look, first time they played each other, 35-7. I know, regular season, it doesn't matter, but it kind of does matter because when you beat a team 35-7 and you go back and you review the film of what worked in that game, you're going to continue to do what worked.
Derrick Henry
unless that
wild,
Buffalo team can prove that they can alter and adjust what worked in Baltimore's favor and counter with something. But Derrick Henry started that game with like an 86-yarder to the house. So if you're going to let that man, Derrick Henry, do that to you early and often, it's going to be a long day for Buffalo.
Mr. C looks like an idiot letting Derrick Henry leave.
It's going to be a long day for Buffalo because let me tell you something. Denver had opportunities. They just didn't have the caliber of offense that Baltimore has. Denver had opportunities this past week. They shot themselves in the foot repeatedly. Baltimore, they are capable of making mistakes, but that offense is humming right now. They're an offense that could keep up with what the Bills can do on offense. And, I am taking the Ravens to beat Buffalo. I'm sorry, Bills fans. It's going to be another year of no championship. You guys are just like the Titans. The only difference is that people actually expect things from you guys. But I'm sorry to say that the true MVP, Lamar Jackson, and his team will be moving on, and it will be the Ravens who will be getting an opportunity once again to go to Kansas City and to be that team from the AFC to be able to say, we were able to slay the beast. We were able to take down Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in their backyard.
So you got Rams and Ravens?
I've got Rams and I've got Ravens. Chris has Chiefs, Ravens, Lions, and Eagles as his AFC and NFC championship games. And you have Philadelphia Eagles and Ravens. Because as much shit as you give us, he's been picking the Eagles every week in the playoffs. Like, he's been picking the Birds.
I'm picking the Eagles because this is going to be outdoors. It's going to be cold. You got an indoor team that plays mainly indoors. They're going to already have the mental block of cold weather. And I lost my parlay.
And also, I mean, when you think about it, the same thing that I just said about Baltimore and Buffalo holds true on the other end. Philly beat the Rams 37-20. So, yes, it was regular season, but you keep using some of the things that worked until that team shows that they can adjust.
Because Barkley went crazy. Jalen Hurts really didn't do much in that game. It was Barkley.
He didn't do much last week either. If Goddard doesn't stiff arm that guy to death, he doesn't get into the end zone. And if the Packers don't fumble the ball as soon as the game starts, then the Eagles aren't in prime position for the potential Dotson. Yeah, like it. Hurts didn't have to be spectacular. He might not have to be spectacular this week if the Eagles do win. The defense, though, the Eagles' defense, which was spectacular, I think, if they come out with that same energy that they had this past week, it's going to be a tough out.
Yeah,
it's going to be hard to beat them.
I think the cold's going to play a big factor in the game for the Rams. Matt Stafford typically doesn't play good in outdoor weather.
Yeah, the elements are against me, and we shall see.
It's the Eagles' defense really. It's going to win the game. It's not going to be the offense. It's going to be the defense in the run game. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to have this amazing game to if I look back at what I saw last week. So I think both passing offenses are going to be anemic. I think it's going to come down to Saquon Barkley. Barkley's probably going to have a big day. Eagles defense is going to have a big day. I think Stafford turns the ball over two times. And the Eagles are probably going to win this game easily.
And I'll give credit where it's due. I thought the Eagles defense was not going to be good this year. Vic Fangio has been outstanding.
Yeah.
Vic Fangio has been outstanding. Their draft picks for this year have been outstanding. And that defense is playing
I can't wait
lights out. They're playing lights out.
Save money up for that.
So it's going to be a tough out. But I'm riding with my preseason pick, man. I picked Rams Chiefs back in August, and I'm sticking with my pick there. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon.
For the nightcap game, I'm going Ravens. I think Baltimore is hot right now. They're playing great football. Lamar Jackson did not play like playoff Lamar last week. He was actually running around He wasn't just sitting in the pocket trying to make throws. He looked like regular season Lamar, because normally when playoffs start, Lamar feels like he needs to stay in the pocket to throw the ball to show that he can be one of those guys.
He looks loose.
Now he's just running. He's comfortable. I think he's going to give, everybody talks about Josh Allen's mobility and all that. Well, get ready for Lamar's mobility.
I think Josh Allen is the one that buckles this weekend. I think Josh Allen is the one that blinks first this weekend.
The Ravens defense is good. It's not like Buffalo has this number one wide receiver that's going to draw a lot of attention. I think Baltimore's going to be able to play their man-on-man and just let their front seven do their thing.
Derrick Henry knows how to play in the cold, guys. And he has done a number on the Buffalo Bills.
And everybody talks about how cold it's going to be. Well, it fits right into Baltimore's advantage because they play physical defense and they play physical run.
They're not a West Coast team.
So,
I think that Baltimore is capable of, like how Denver came out.
As long as it doesn't come down to a Justin Tucker field goal, Baltimore is going to win this game.
Denver came out and they punched Buffalo in the mouth right away. I think that Baltimore is capable of doing worse than that early on. And if we're talking about Buffalo going up 14-0,
Denver threw one uppercut. Baltimore's going to throw haymakers.
If we're talking about Baltimore going up 14-0, all you need is one mistake, and that mistake could be a punt because we're talking about possessions at that point. One more punt, a field goal, now 17. Like it becomes insurmountable fast, and now you're playing catch up. And if the Baltimore Ravens go up on you 14-0, that's exactly where they want to be because they're just going to run that football. Lamar Jackson does not have to go out there and be lights out or do anything out of the ordinary. They are going to use the run game. He's going to use the run himself. And they are just going to smartly bleed the clock out. And then we're going to start seeing, the overcompensation of Josh Allen, knowing that he's down, knowing that he's playing from behind, which could potentially produce a turnover. Either way, this is it. This is the matchup that we wanted. It's winner gets to see which one of them is ready to finally once and for all take on Kansas City. I'll save my predictions for next week's pod. But this is the big one, man. And I hope that it's a good matchup. I hope that Buffalo does better the second time around because I was looking forward to this matchup earlier in the season when it first happened, and the Ravens routed these guys. Like it wasn't even close. The first time that they played each other, it was a tailor-made Baltimore Ravens win. It was exactly the way the Ravens want to play football and the way that the Ravens want to win games. They will put the boots to you. They will be relentless. They will not take their foot off the pedal. So Buffalo is going to have to be able to, match that energy. The good thing is they're at home. They have their crowd behind them. But Baltimore is the type of team where they have the firepower to silence that crowd. Some of the biggest runs that Derrick Henry has had against Buffalo have been in Buffalo. Freaking 80-yarders to the house. So it's going to come down to, who wants it more, pretty much, man, and who's going to blink first. And I think that Josh Allen's going to be the one to blink first. And I see Buffalo going through a table in Buffalo because these Ravens, man, got to give them their credit, man. They're a good football team this year. What's up, Chino? Long time no see, bro. Hope to see you soon, man. Hope all is well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully Buffalo gives us a better game than the other team from last weekend. Ugh. Yep. That's how the cookie crumbles, man.
Mm-hmm.
Those are our predictions. Those are our picks for the divisional round. Not totally sure if we'll be here next week, but me and my colleague will brainstorm. We'll let you guys know. If not, I'll probably do a little, side video on the Money Sports Minute update. How we've been doing, how we've been rocking, and we will. Chino's got the Ravens too. People see it, man. Like there's a feeling in the air, bro. Like they right now are looking like the better football team out of those two teams. It's you can see it.
Interesting.
You see it. Yeah, it is. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good football. Good action-packed divisional round. Historically, this is one of the best weekends of playoff football. Is the divisional round. I hope that holds true because, to be honest, we had 6 games this past week, and only one of the 6 was an actual good game. It came down to the wire, the Sunday night game between the Commanders and the Bucks. So I'm hoping that we get a couple of good matchups, regardless of who wins and loses, regardless of what our picks are. I just want more than anything some good football. I want some good football, bro. But I'm hoping that the Rams and the Chiefs come through so that my bet stays alive for the Super Bowl. But yeah, man. This has been On the Money Podcast.
Just checking to see if anything. Nothing new brewing.
We're about to tap into the Sleeper app and see what went down with this trade. Check out our fantasy basketball team and check on our remaining bet slips, everybody.
You guys have been awesome today.
You guys out there, great feedback. Thank you guys. Paul, Chris, Chino, Mike D for a little bit before he went to sleep. Drewski, who commented earlier. The other Chris Wolski, thank you for chiming in. About over Woody Johnson's dead body for the Jets to be good. All you guys, we appreciate you. We love you. This is why we do what we do. And thanks to you guys for rocking with us. Thanks to you guys for helping us make Wednesday nights great, for making the middle of the week important. We are the best game on television on Wednesday nights. It's us. It's On the Money Podcast, On the Money Sports, doing what we do best. We appreciate you guys, and we look forward to talking to you guys again. And we will see if next week it's Fly Eagles Fly, or potentially,
or did the Rudy Poo Rams win,
or did the Rudy Poo Rams come through? But until then, same time, same place. This has been On the Money Podcast. You guys be safe.
See you guys next week.